What's up, Dale? Want to see what $1,000 looks like? Bingo, bango. So, you guys, we're out here in the garage, on the old IROC here, giving her some much needed love. Now, for a while, this girl has, she's just kind of been sitting here for the season. I drove her maybe once or twice last year, and that is because this is my second set, not set, but like double, like 2 lifters. This is my second time I would have to put a set of like 1 bank of lifters in this thing. A while ago on the passenger side, I did like 2 lifters because they're like on a link bar. And if we all know what's going on with lifters out there in the past few years, we know, maybe you might know what's going on. I did that side, it fixed it for about a season. Now this side's not staying pumped up, which is very, very aggravating. The price you pay for them is close to almost what you pay for a set of Johnson lifters, I think. Maybe it's cheaper, but the quality is not there. So I talked to, I think his name was Bob at Marine Kinetics, and he was in New York. I can't remember where at in New York. But I talked to somebody at Johnson, sounded like an older guy. He recommended me to him, and these are the lifters he recommended me use. I don't know if you can see those part numbers on there, but that's for my build. I told him what I had and everything like that, and what I was doing with it, and that's what he recommended. They're supposed to be like a type of lifter that has a better chance of staying pumped up at a lower idle. So that's what I went with. Just crazy the price you pay for things. Either way, what we're going to be doing in this video is diving in to this old girl, pulling everything off of her, getting down to that lifter valve. We got to pull the intake, so we got to pull upper intake, you know, the air intake, coolant, inject. You know, we'll probably try to leave the injectors in there. We got to unhook the fuel lines. We got to unhook a bunch of stuff. So, and then get down to those lifters, put these guys in, and then we're gonna, once we get down to that bottom, when we get all that stuff in, we're gonna have to check our push rod length to make sure it hasn't changed or anything. And if it did, then we're gonna have to get the correct set of push rods. But that is hopefully it's the same style, and that we can use the same push rods that we have. But this has been a long time coming. This car deserves it. She doesn't deserve to just sit here because she's got a little bit of a noise. I guess we'll dive in. I'm going to start probably just putting you on a time lapse here of me ripping everything apart. Maybe time lapse full time. I don't know yet. But it's going to take me a bit to get all this stuff out there. It's kind of late anyway. I'm starting late, so I don't even know if I'll be out here that, you know, for a while, but we'll see what we can do. So let's hop right in. Probably just going to start taking off this air intake, really, because it's the easiest to start with. Didn't think I would be having to dive into this girl so recently again, but it needs to happen. Get that throttle cable off, and then we'll pull these bolts for the holder. We'll just lay that guy aside. We'll get this. I don't know if I want to pull that yet. What I do want to do is get the number one cylinder to top dead center, so that when we stab our distributor back in, you know, we don't have any issues. If I don't fix this, I won't drive the car. I already know it. I can't stand it with that noise. So I know if I don't fix this, she's just gonna sit here. And like I said, she does not deserve that. I think we got a vacuum line under here or something. Yeah. connectors on that side. I actually get to use my fender cover my mom bought me a while ago. Thanks, Mom. Oh, like that. Okay. There's our upper intake. Now, if we don't get too far tonight, we'll probably just end up setting that back on there, because I don't think we're going to be pulling the actual lower intake tonight. Just trying to get some of this stuff out of the way and see what I can do as far as this harness goes, because I really like the way I got it routed. So I think what I'm going to do next, try to do at least, is pull the #1 spark plug and see if I can maybe put my finger over the hole and feel compression. And I have a timing mark down here, so I should be able to feel it with the compression going up, and then put it at #1 on the balancer. Let's see how these spark plugs look. A little black. Yeah. She probably could use some new ones. That's for sure. I'm gonna see if I can find something that goes on this crank pulley down here. I think I had an ARP bolt on it or something. Spent the big bucks on this. Yep, 21 star socket. 21 regular will not fit on there. And then push it. Gonna be here a minute. Okay, there's a little bit of compression. All right, let's see if we can, about friggin' time. Still got some timing tape on there, but we're also looking for the 0 mark on the balancer. So I think it's coming up. That little white mark is kind of right where I put to, yeah, 0 is coming up. Yeah, on the balancer down there, I put a bunch of, maybe I can get you down in here and you can see. If you look maybe down in there, you see that white mark? I got some timing tape on there because that's where I set my timing at. So that's like, I think it's set at like 36 degrees or something like that. So that's how we're going to kind of leave it. But I'm going to put it at 0 on the actual balancer because we're not worried about timing right now. We're just worried about pulling the distributor out. So I'm going to get that around to the actual 0 mark on the balancer. Oh no, we need to go back just a hair. There we go. That's good. You can see that's like the little mark on the balancer. You probably can't see the 0 on the timing tab. So that means cylinder #1, because I have my finger over the hole of #1. And as I was turning around, I was pushing my finger out. So that means it's on the compression stroke. So anytime you're pulling your distributor, you want it to be #1 to be at top dead center on the compression stroke. So you know where you have to put that distributor back in when you're, you know, putting it in the engine. So, probably going to pull all these plug wires off and then try to see where they get the cap off, see where the actual rotor is pointing. Hopefully it's pointing at #1 like it should be, and go from there. Man, I don't know if you guys can see that, but you got some freaking corrosion going on in there. Maybe we'll try to clean those off or get a new cap in the meantime. But either way, this is where our distributor is pointing, so that's where we want it to point when we drop it back in. That is definitely pointing at #1, so that's good. So I'm going to take a picture of that and then maybe try to get that thing out of there. All right, y'all, we got the distributor pulled. Gear looks in great shape. No crazy wear on it or anything. So that's good. We're going to set a couple towels up here, set this guy on there. We got the cap there. And maybe tonight I'm going to shove a towel down in that hole and probably undo some fuel lines, just if there's some fuel pressure in there, which I don't think there is. We'll let it dry overnight. So let's do that. All right, y'all. So we got the distributor out like I showed you. I got that hole plugged. I got our fuel lines off. A little bit of fuel in them, not too much, which is good. We haven't started this thing in a while, so there shouldn't be too much. There wasn't barely any fuel pressure in it. I'm going to take this upper intake and just kind of screw it down on there and maybe make like a tight little bit of a seal on it because it's not hard to get off anyway. Just to try to keep moisture and stuff out of there. And I mean, realistically, we're not far off from pulling this intake. I got to get something to catch this coolant, so maybe I'll stop tomorrow and try to find like a big bucket thing to catch it in, because I have no clean actual like drain pans or anything like that. My drain pans are all destroyed. So, and then I guess if the coolant looks bad, we'll replace it, but if it looks fine, we'll keep it in there. I just checked it before this winter anyway, and it was passed the test. It was good. Wouldn't be able to freeze or anything like that. I'm going to pop our number 1 spark plug back in, pop this guy in, and then I'm going to hit the house because it's about bedtime. So I'll see you guys in a couple days. All right, y'all. So new day, new night, pretty much. I think what I'm going to start by doing, I bought these trays because they're clean and they were $2 a piece. Not terrible. I bought some stuff at the dollar store before and it like cracked while I was using it, so I went to Walmart and picked these up for $1 more. Gonna hit our petcock down here and hopefully catch some of this. We realistically don't need to empty every single drop, but just enough for the upper intake, because I don't want any coolant going down in here or anything like that. So we'll probably drain it until maybe we fill a pan and a half or something. I don't know, or until it stops. We'll see what happens. Down on our petcock here. Let's see if we can give this guy a twist. Oof. Oh, man. Jeez. Thing's tight. I wonder if we can get a pair of pliers on it. There. Got some movement out of it. After all these tabs are all bent up on it now. It's good. Oh yeah, this is what I forgot about this thing. So yeah, I cut up that license plate, put it there so that it doesn't... Because what happens when you drain these, they actually like start to hit the actual radiator support on the bottom and then just leak all down the side. So that's that nice Toyota red coolant. It was free, so sue me. And it works great. You can pull this intake back off here. So yeah, we gotta wait for that coolant to drop. Realistically, probably once the radiator's drained, it'll be enough. Because it's kind of about height, you know, if you got the coolant in the radiators lower than here, then realistically there shouldn't be any left in the actual upper intake. So, we'll see though. I don't know actually, now that I think about it. There you go. So I think that thing's at the bottom of the radiator. So let's pull our water neck and see what surprises await us. Get our bolts out of here. Oh yeah, she's empty. Got our thermostat sitting in there. We're gonna, I don't know what we're gonna do with this. We're gonna set him somewhere like that, out of the way. And we'll leave our thermostat there. So I'm gonna start taking some bolts out of the, or all the bolts out of the intake, and I think it was a pain in the butt trying to get this thing off here last time, but whatever, we'll get it. All right, we got all those out of there. So now it's just about getting this thing unsealed. I think what I did before was went along this channel here and tried to get some of the gasket out of it. Recommendations to you: go on Amazon and buy the big thing of razor blades. Don't just keep buying them in the small packs. Just buy the big ones. They're not the best, but they're good enough. Ooh, yeah, that's what we need. Problem is this rear gasket, the rear seal back here, unless we can twist it. This guy out of here, maybe. Stop. Yeah. Oh. Don't want fuel in the crankcase. Man, looks pretty clean in there. So that's good. Only issue I see is that previous me gooped the heck out of that, which doesn't need to be like that. Same thing on this side. The rears are somewhat okay, so there's something. But yeah, inside looks pretty freaking clean, man. I'm gonna have to actually put some stuff down in here, probably paper towels, to try to catch some of this RTV and stuff that's coming off. But we may just leave it how it is now. Pop the actual valve covers off. I'm going to vacuum the tops of these because see all this crud in here and stuff. But we'll probably pull the valve covers, loosen the rocker arms, and then get the actual lifters out. Pop our new ones in. Nothing's crazy going on in here, is there? Hello? Hello? Pop our new ones in, and then actually, you know, maybe see if our push rod length is still okay. So we'll do that. Well, you guys, I'm cleaning off this gasket material off this thing, and you know, I found that the best thing to do when you're doing this is switch your razor every little bit. Buy that big pack like I was talking about on Amazon, and just switch your razor out. It'll help you clean a lot faster and easier. All right, y'all, we got all that gasket cleaned off of there. Looks pretty clean in there. You can see some oxidization starting on these heads, but I mean, it's 5-6 years old, I think, at this point. So what do you expect? But I think what I'm gonna do is put some actual paper towels in the valley here for the night and put a trash bag over it, maybe just for extra measure, I guess. Whatever. Try to maybe keep some moisture out of it. I don't know. It doesn't get too moist. Like, there's not a lot of moisture that gets in here because this is insulated garage, but still, we'll take the extra measure. So I don't have enough time tonight to actually pull the valve covers, pull the rockers. I'm just beat. I got work in the morning, so I'll probably be out here and doing that tomorrow. So I'll see you guys then. All right, y'all. We're back out here today. Nice, cool, like 60, 70 degree day, which I'll take. So what I think I'm going to start doing is I'm going to pull these valve covers and go down the line of pulling our rockers off. So, and then realistically, we're going to pull the rockers off. We're going to try to maybe just loosen all of them. Maybe pull all the push rods out. I'm not too sure yet. We'll deal with it when we get there. But I want to just at least get one set of lifters in. Honestly, probably put them all in, but I'm gonna put a 1-2 set in there and tighten it down, and then actually see, you know, what our push rod length kind of looks like. These ARPs should be, there they are. They're like a 12.8 millimeter. I can't remember how to get this side out. No, there's a trick. There we go. Everything's still looking pretty decent. Man, look how pretty that looks. It's a shame you never get to see these things. So we're gonna go down the line here, and we can realistically just loosen them. I think I'm gonna pull my bag and stuff out of here. So what you gotta do is loosen. There's a center locking piece in the middle, in the center. You gotta loosen that guy first before you can actually loosen the, oh, and they're gonna be tight, I already know it. We're just gonna go down all of these. I like to loosen that center portion. Go down, like, you know, just loosen a little bit and then go down the line and spin these a decent amount. It's just a locking cap so that it keeps the rocker adjustment where it needs to be. See, these ones we can spin by hand, but some of these are under load because that valve is opening. We're obviously gonna have to go down all of these. He's just spinning these off all the way. Spinning one section off. We'll put this back on there, because I don't want to mix these up. I don't think it'd be too much of a big deal, but it has wore in with that push rod, so we kind of want to keep it there. So I'm going to take this off, set it in the center like that, pull this one off, and do the same thing. And then what we'll do is we'll pull our push rods, and then we'll stab a lifter set in there, and then we'll just go down the line and do it to all those. Kind of show you maybe what I'm doing here. So pretty much you got this set screw in the center here, and loosen that, and then obviously this valve's open, so it's going to be a little tight, but you just loosen that center Allen key and then loosen this outer one, spin that off. I pull it off, set it over here to the side, left side, because obviously it's the left side. I screw this back on there. Same thing with this side. Pop that over there. That's nice. We'll pick that up. And then we'll pull the push rods out, and then just set them aside, and then slide the lifters up out of the valley and slide the new ones in. That's pretty much it, what we're doing here. And then once we get all of them done, then we'll go down the whole row, and hopefully they're pumped up with sitting in that oil, and then we'll adjust all of them. All right, y'all, so I'm doing a little bit of comparison here. This is a set of the new lifters compared to the old ones. And you kind of see maybe where the roller ends on this one, and like where the body begins. So I don't know, it seems like the same length as far as like the whole body of the actual lifter, but so I don't know what that's going to do with push rod length. We're obviously going to figure that out in a minute. I'm going to slide past, you can stay over there. I'm going to slide past you here, you can go on that side. So what I'm kind of dealing with here is, I think these center cylinders here, these lifters were totally fine with going in. These other ones, these lifters are literally hitting the actual cylinder head, so I have to like try to jam them in there, which sucks. And I think I have to actually go to that side to get that in, which really sucks. You're probably not gonna be able to see, but I have to at least get like one side started, because see how tight it is in there? So I've been trying to get the left side started first, and all I remember was this back area was a real freaking pain. There, we got that one in, but then the problem is that I can't get this one in there. Yeah, that's how I did it. If I can get this guy in there, that'd be fan-frickin-tastic. I know I struggled on the other side too, so. There we go. Come on. There we go. Thank frickin' God. That was a big worrisome. So, I'll probably bring it back once I'm adjusting these. What I'm going to have to do is, when you're adjusting your rocker arms, whichever valve you're doing, can you see these? You want to, let's say like you're going to adjust the exhaust stroke. You want your intake or your exhaust valve, you're going to adjust your exhaust valve. You want your intake valve to just be opening, because then you know your exhaust valve will be on the back side of the actual camshaft where there's no load getting into the valve or into the actual lifter itself, pushing on it and then giving you an inaccurate reading. So what I'm going to do is I'll pull one of these off, put a little bit of a magic marker on the actual tip of the valve, and then hopefully tighten that side down, turn it over a bunch, and hopefully it gives us a mark in the actual valve tip to see where our push rod length is. So I'll bring it back once I'm doing that and show you kind of the best place to where you want it. You want it in the center of the valve tip pretty much. All right, so I'm gonna probably be in your guys' way. Oh geez. I'm gonna crank this bad boy over, maybe. So we got that turned over till this is about, the intake valve is about to start opening. I'm gonna pull this back off. Whew. We're gonna have to hook the starter up on this thing to do them all. But oh yeah, it already gave us a little bit of a mark, but we're not at our spot yet, so I'm gonna redo that really quick. Because it's not at 0 lash, obviously. Well, it's not at the adjustment. And make sure when you're doing these rockers, they only go one way. There's one side that's concaved to kind of, you know, fit down flushly on the rocker stud. Then there's a flat spot. Make sure you don't put them on the wrong way. So we're gonna spin this guy. So we're gonna have our push rod in our finger. We're gonna spin it all the way until we feel resistance. And then Now these may not be pumped up all the way, because, you know, obviously they were sitting in oil, but they haven't got like a lot of oil pressure shoved into them. But when I was talking to Bob from Marine Kinetics, he said when you're going to adjust your lash, you want, it was like 35, 50, I don't know, I remember what it was, but all I remember him saying was you go from 12 o'clock to 5 o'clock. So that's what we're going to do. And we messed it up. Ain't that great? We need a ratchet. That might have been like 530. But that's okay. That's, you know, I don't think these are pumped up. We may have to go over these after this thing runs for a bit. All right, so I'm gonna go around and spin this over a bunch, and hopefully gives us a decent mark. So we spun that over. Can you guys see that a little bit? That looks pretty freaking good. Now these obviously aren't pumped up as much as we would like them, but that's pretty close to that center. So I think we're gonna run that and call her good. All right, y'all, so I figured I'd bring you in here to kind of show you what's going on and how I'm doing this. I already did this whole driver side. I did these front two passengers. So I'm gonna bring you on these two here. I'm gonna show you how I'm adjusting these. So right now we have our exhaust valve opening up, and the only way I know that, you can't see it here because the rocker's loose, but I can see the lifter coming up in the valley. And that means obviously the exhaust is opening. So when your exhaust valve just starts to open, that's when you adjust your intake valve. And when the intake valve just starts to open, that's when you do your exhaust. So we're going to go to our intake valve here, and we're going to be spinning this center nut on the actual rocker arm. Make sure your lifter, your push rod stays in your lifter. And you're gonna spin this push rod in your hand until, I'm gonna loosen this lock nut a little bit. But you're gonna spin this push rod in your hand until you feel resistance. Not tight, just resistance. But it should get tight, there should be no up and down movement. And then we're gonna take this guy, we're gonna make sure our ratchet is at 12 o'clock, and we're gonna move it to a 5 o'clock area. I would say that's about 5 o'clock there. Once you get that done, you're gonna spin the center locking nut down. And I always just take a wrench because this isn't a long Allen key. Make sure that guy's nice and tight. You don't want that coming loose. I think they call that a set screw. So there's one. We're going to go down the rest and do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 more, and should be good to go. Then we'll pop the valve covers back on. Bruh. Anyway, you guys, when I was explaining that on those rockers, when you were spinning that, when you're getting this hand tight and you're spinning it and feeling the resistance, that is your 0 lash. So every set of lifters is different. It has a different set of like where you want your turn past 0 lash. So that guy told me about 5 o'clock past 0 lash, which I can't remember what it is in the lash terms, but maybe it's 30 or 50. I don't know. But that's what he told me to put it at, so that's what we put it at. So yeah, that part where you spin it and you get that little bit of resistance, that is your 0 lash. Now, like I said, I may have to go back through these when we get this thing running, because some of those lifters were pumped up, some of them weren't, because you could feel the resistance when you're turning the wrench that they're pumped up. But you know, some of them will do that while they're just sitting in oil, some won't. Some guys like to push that plunger. I don't like to do that because it makes a big mess and it's a pain in the butt. And usually if you get close to that, that zero lash. These lifters have a good tight hold on them as far as that cup, so you're not really pushing that down into there hard when you're spinning that by hand. At least that's what I believe. So that's probably all I'm going to do for today, because I'm kind of beat after spinning that motor over by hand, because I tried to hook the battery up, and there's just, I would have had to pull all the plugs to let the compression out and stuff like that, because, you know, all your valves are closed while you're going down doing that. Big pain in the butt, but whatever. So I'm going to put our valve covers back on, lay our stuff back in the valley, and probably call it a night. All right, y'all. We got our valve covers back on. I spun that thing over a few times just to make sure everything was okay. Sure, whatever. Flipped this guy over, got him cleaned up. And if you actually take a peek in here, if you come up close, see how this thing was, if you kind of look down in the cylinders, let me see this. I ported this whole thing back in the day when I was younger. It took me forever. So that's one thing I actually forgot that I did. But it was kind of worth it. Good experience. Would I do it again? Maybe not. But, so, what we're, uh-oh. I gotta find that. So, I'm gonna let this guy dry. Tomorrow, I'm supposed to be getting the gaskets for the intake. So, probably what I'm gonna do tomorrow will be put the intake on, torque it down, and then let that sit overnight. Maybe put a couple things on it, but you don't really want to move it too much while you're, you know, while it's sealing up. So before we do that, we'll clean off the heads again. We'll clean off this area again. And yeah, we'll get this freaking water neck the heck out of here. We got to replace that gasket too. But yeah, I'm going in for the night. I'm freaking beat. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay, y'all. I got the bottom of this intake clean, as I showed yesterday. Got this guy clean. I'm going to go over with brake cleaner on each one of these once again before I start. These are through bolts, but they don't go into like any coolant passages. But I think I'm going to put just a little bit of that Teflon stuff on those bolts and get this thing gooped up and slapped on there. So, hooray. This always aggravates me. So, probably stick you on a time lapse, and we're going to go for it. Alright, y'all. Intake's on. I didn't torque it down yet. We got a good squishing effect back there, which is good. I watch Vice Grip a lot. What he always says is, once you kind of hand tighten these down and get them cranked a little bit, go have a cold snack, you know? Go get something to drink. Chill out for a minute. Let that, you know, gasket sealer kind of, you know, harden up a little bit. And then we'll come back and torque them all down. I kind of cinched them down pretty good, but we'll let that chill for maybe like a half hour or something like that. The package says an hour. It's kind of warm out here, so I think it's going to dry quicker. So we'll let that chill for a bit. And I'm going to go have a drink and chill out. All right, y'all. We're about to stick our distributor back in a couple days later. Intake should be nice and dry. Definitely sat longer than we needed it to. I put some of this like break-in oil, lube stuff just to, you know, I don't know. We have it. We might as well. It's going to stick on there good. So we're going to try to get this thing, I'm going to spin this motor over to top dead center and then try to drop that, drop this guy in there and, I don't know, see if we can line it up where we had it. We've got our brand new distributor gasket on here. So we're going to try to slap this puppy where she needs to be. Hopefully it lines up. We'll see what the heck happens. Gotta get all this stuff out of the way, maybe. She literally dropped in right where she needs to be. Wow. That's pretty freaking good. I think that looks good right there. So we'll get our hold down on there and tighten her up. Maybe. Well, y'all, look at her. All back together. I think I remembered everything. I hope I did. I got some coolant in her. Probably have to pour the rest of that in there. Realistically, the only place it's going to need to go to is into the intake. Because there should be some still coolant in the block. What are we going to do? We're going to hook up our battery, and I got our fuel injectors unhooked. We're just going to crank this girl over until we see some actual oil pressure. So, let's do that. All right, we got some pressure. Just want to make sure there's no smoking gun coming from up there. Crank this guy some more here. Give that starter a break. Guess let's see what happens. New lifters, first start. Starting and dying, eh? Looked like it burped, which is good. I want to say that
we're gonna have to plug into the ECU and kind of maybe watch the data list and stuff like that and see what it's doing. Because it kind of seems like it might have forgot to tune, or might have to run again in closed loop or open loop to kind of retune itself, because it surely didn't want to start. Usually it starts first try, might run, then die. Usually it starts, dies, and then you start it again and it just runs fine. But I got to get my timing light here. It does sound like it's running better. I got to get my timing light here. We'll plug into that ECU, make sure everything's okay. Maybe we need to do another TPS auto set, but it seems like it's running better after a little bit of time once it got up to temp. Got good oil pressure. Sounds like a sewing machine in here, which is good. Sounds pretty good. Idle's come down finally. Probably could be a little lower, but that might change when we do timing. Oh yeah, dude. She sounds pretty good. She has awakened. Well, y'all, I thought I was going to end the video there, but I ended up finding my timing light in my car. So I'm gonna start this girl up and try to set some timing on it. We're actually pretty close. You can back it off. I think it needs to advance just a tiny bit. Alright, that sounds pretty good. Kind of like that right where it is, as far as timing goes. So, I think what I'm going to do now is pull a valve cover and do the lash. Whew, y'all, that was a hassle. Whew. Driver's side was definitely the hardest. Passenger side wasn't bad. Everything's just in the way. So I'm gonna cap off this radiator, start her up for a minute, and just let her run for a quick second. Listen how she sounds, and let her be. Somebody asked to play Hot for Teacher by Van Halen. Whew. Listen to that cam, baby. Listen to that. No more tap, tap, tap. I could sit in here all night and breathe these fumes, baby. Let's go. Yeah, it's smoking a bit down there. I loosened the valve cover and moved it up a bit because I think that rocker was kind of smacking on it. And I think it pissed down the back why I did that. But you gotta do what you gotta do. So we'll have to give her the old good degrease job again and let her burn off, but that's okay. Just a little bit of oil. It's not leaking down the back. I thought maybe the back intake gasket was pissing. Whew. All right, y'all. What do you think about that? I am freaking pumped that this thing is quiet, man. My girl is back. I can't wait to get back on the road with her. I can't believe I did that whole ending part with my hair down because that is annoying. But anyway, I'm pretty pumped. I hope you guys are too. I've had this car since I was in high school. Made a lot of memories with it. And even just wrenching on it like this gives me a lot more memories. The things I did in this car when I was younger blows my mind. Mom, I know you're watching. Don't ask questions. Just thankful I'm here. Got a lot more to do to this thing, though. We got to clean up that oil leak over there. It started spitting out when I moved that valve cover. So we'll have to give it the degrease job. Clean it up, let it burn off there. One thing I do want to do with this is fix this whole air cleaner setup. I do like this setup, the factory setup. I don't think it's robbing us of any power or of anything that we can notice. I don't really want to run a cold air intake. I do like the way this factory setup looks. It's a little shorter with the Holley Stealth Ram, but because I had to kind of pull it into it. But the later, like, I don't know what year they started just doing the map sensor instead of the MAF sensor. I want to say 90 to 92. I could be wrong, but I'll have to find. I already have the 90 to 92 like rubber piece here. But I need to find the actual airbox piece because it's legit. It's the same thing, so it just is longer so that you get rid of your mass airflow sensor. So I want to do that. We'll probably get those pieces. There's a bracket on the exhaust that like a hanger that broke off a while ago that I want to get fixed. The slave cylinder on this thing is literally for the actual throwout bearing and stuff is literally sitting on the exhaust, so it like you could feel it swell up over time as you're driving, like the pedal gets tight, or just when the exhaust gets hot. I don't know if you heard me when I pushed the pedal in there. You hear it go. That's the slave cylinder. The like O-rings and stuff inside there just swelled up from the heat. So I want to fix that. I think they sell a adjustable one that's like shorter and smaller. So maybe that'll give us the room. And just driving it, man. We're going to take it for a ride here soon. Just to get it worked out. Like I said, that I didn't get to hook up the computer to the ECU. But it started weird again on me cold. I think it needs to relearn, which is very weird to me, why it would do that. So we're going to keep an eye on it. And, you know, I'll get my laptop, plug into it, see what's going on, if it's running an open or closed loop. And then worst case scenario, if we see something crazy going on, we'll have to give Holley a call and see what they say. Hopefully nothing too bad, but hopefully it just needs to relearn. I don't know what could have happened. I've never taken this thing out of open loop. I've always just left it in. So it's always learning, I guess you'd say. But either way, I'll take it, man. I'm pretty excited to have this girl back and quiet. Been waiting to do this for a while. Just had to get the money together. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Hit that like, hit that comment. Subscribe to your boy if you want to see more content like this. We're going to have a lot more videos coming your way. For now, take it easy.